were there a lot of immigrants in Braddock?
A what? My name is Vittoria Galoiero. I come from Italy, in Vazzano, Calabria. I born in 1935. My mom died when they were 11, so my nonna did raise after they died, my daddy. My husband, John, I have the picture coming in Vazzano. They see me as one married like me, They come on just vacation, And they look maybe they marry somebody, they wanted for me, Italy, They see me. E they me hanno cosa così. Yeah, John, come quando mi carrozzava, mi toccava. E poi dopo allora, So I'm married the 28th November.
Keep staying there. Smile.
You like us?
Just smile. Just smile.
And my husband, they come in America. And after the 6 months, I come over here. They can take the wife together. They have to come in America, the husband, and they have to do the paper, the wife comes. This is quando in Italy, che erano tutti e tre I kids, quando in Italy. E cosa Franco era cosa, Ciangia, questo era Franco. Ciangia sempre, quando in l'Italia. I get a Vibo Frost, and over there, I get the boat. So I stay in the boat to, I think, almost 11 days, I come in America in October. And then they have the room like this, and then the bed, like a half over there, a half over there. And me, I sleep with this, my friend, The day or the night they went, and they're a big room. And they dance, and they think, They're tutti in a boat, hey, America! Close to the bed. Continue?
Yeah.
21,
21,
22,
22,
23.
23.
No, in the boat I get off and I stay at New York. And the family, I don't know who come and the family, they come and get me. The burn my money. Look the way Dr. Monardo, my cousin, they go for dinner, beginning I cry, Can miss it because the family, I have this my friend, Carmela, who died. Yeah, I have the picture every night. Every night I kiss the morte, sante, re, e mi corco. San Francisco mio di favola di letto, venite alla mia casa che vi aspetto, venite alla mia casa che vi aspetto, San Francisco mio. Ed era friend, era pure che venne all'Italia. They don't talk some, and they come all the time in my house, They don't come and work with me, So, and that's what happened. They talk with the boss in town, and I went, They go, so, Joseph Horn. Put Joseph Horn closer, and I go Morvenville Mall. Not a job, system. So, John, the work, shoemaker, no shoemaker. And they go in a mall. They work with this guy, and they give it a John. Pretend a John that you buy it to Malaka, you know. So, and definitely, it's where they work.
Okay.
Mr. You the president. Oh, they heavy. See, I get the parcel. Okay. It's too cold.
Okay. Okay, we'll go inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
You say I'm happy now. I have the kids. It's my family. It's my house. Now this it's my happy like I can stay over here like I know. Bless America. It's like I like it now, like you know. It's my house and my thing is it's over here in America, like. Cause I have my family, the kids, the niece, like. Now it's I went a couple of times in Italy for vacation. But I don't go no more like it, you know. I'm old.
Come out.
Okay.
Hey, hi.
Don't talk. Just.
Oh, hi. Hi. Are you back?
She has to pee.
Oh. Hi. Oh, you want a Calabria? You want to see Calabria? Huh? Calabria, let me see. Calabria. It's Calabria. Masorica, you go now. I was thinking I cook pasta.
I just always was fascinated with the cosmos and stars and galaxies and the structure of the universe, the speed of light, and how when you're looking up at the space, you're actually looking at the past. My first memory of, knowing that I was different was in first grade. I think my teacher's name was Mrs. Bouchel in North School.
Matt.
And she would pass out these one sheet, like, simple reading. And I just remember looking at it like it was Chinese. And we had those desks where you like lift up the whole desk and then there's just space to put stuff in. And then I had a stack of them stuffed in the desk because I never handed them in. And she has never had control of my life, ever.
Hey, Joe, it's Matt. Call me when you get a second.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
There's like a million questions to ask you, but going back to, and I don't even know where to go sometimes. There's so much there, and I just feel like also I couldn't talk to you for so many years in any real way. So, like, I'm relearning you and trying to understand you. I guess the question I have is, why would you want to be open about your story? What would you want people to know? Why wouldn't you want to hide it?
I don't know, to help other people. To make other people understand that, listen, There are probably a lot of people out there who have a pretty similar story to mine, whether their childhood trauma was a learning disability or being beat up by their parents or some other childhood trauma. There's lots of people that have a story similar to mine.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you have 3 kids that grew up in the same house their entire life, okay?
Yeah.
With the same 2 parents who stayed married in the exact same environment. Why did one of them up so badly? The fact that, we're brother and sister, you're in a very unique position to tell this story.
I think that I don't know anything. This is why I'm here. I want to know everything.
Okay, so this is how the story goes in terms of how opiates took over my life. In 2005, I hurt my back. I went to this doc. He gave me 90 Norcos with the refill.
Are you suffering with pain?
You feel like everyone is far away from you.
Feel the weight of sadness. You feel lonely.
Trouble concentrating. Long-term pain relief that sets you free.
So what happens? I'm taking like 10 a day. So then I ran out of them, and then what do? I tell anyone who has Vicodin, I'll buy it from you. Okay? And that's it. It was downhill from there. The financial crisis is getting worse. It's getting worse. I'm freaking out. Dad's telling me everything will be okay.
Financial market Dow tumbled more than 5.
And then Dad died. Just completely suddenly. Literally had a conversation with him Friday afternoon, and that's the last time I ever talked to him. And then I'm just like a zombie walking through the offices of my company, and then like 2 weeks later, when the business went under, I'm thinking about it. I gotta get out of my head. I can't take it because I'm in so much pain. I gotta stop this pain. I gotta stop. That's when I started using heroin. When you have thoughts like racing in your head and you're just freaked out about everything and you have no idea what you're gonna do and you got all these, this rolling around in your head, heroin is very good at stopping that, cold in its tracks.
I guess the question I have is when that goes away, what's left?
Oh, just horror and misery. When the heroin starts to wear off and you start to get, feel dope sick, it's the worst mental and physical pain you can imagine.
So then all those thoughts rush in, everything you were just trying to avoid.
Oh, 10 times worse. 100 times worse. But then what do? How do you? Then what's the solution to that? Get more and stop it. And that's why heroin is such a hard drug to get off of, because for $10 or $15 you can stop the pain.
It makes me feel like in some way that it is the idea that not only is it a disease, but it's a learned disorder, like that you actually have rewired your brain for real.
Of course, there's no totally neuroplasticity rewires your brain.
There's a mysterious zone far out in our solar system.
This is a lemur on a tree in Madagascar.
So there's many animals that take drugs. So there's this one, I think it's a lemur that gets high off this one, I don't know, it's this one, another thing native to Madagascar. and they just show you the lemur like it's like salivating from the mouth and like laying upside down and just high as we have the same midbrain as these other mammals. Midbrain is responsible for like the next 10 seconds of your, or 10 or 15 seconds of your life. It makes you breathe. It's fight or flight. Once an addict gets that rewiring going, that rewiring happens, which it happens very, very quickly. Right, the prefrontal cortex can't overpower it. Remember the first intervention when you flew in after Mom was in California?
Yeah, it was really scary to see you. I felt like you'd given up on life. You had dirty dishes everywhere, and you were just a mess.
Right, oh yeah. Addiction is so much, out of any disease, it affects the people around you the most. It really does. So, where cancer, it affects your family, but addiction literally tears the fabric of the family at its roots, and it up the family. And we live in this family, and we know that my actions and all the bull that I put this family through has ripped this family apart. I went into like just a 3-day rehab the weekend because I had a job at that point. And I go to the doctor. I just want to deal with the acute problem because I got a job now. I just want to detox. And he goes, but we don't have an acute problem. We have a chronic problem. And that's why it didn't work.
Yeah, because you're treating a chronic disease like an acute problem.
Right.
Hey, Matt, what's going on?
My name is Matt, and I'm a recovering addict.
Matt, would you like to share?
Matt, are you using again?
So if rehab doesn't work and these short detoxes don't work, what does work for you?
So let's just get a term ready for you so I can use it. It's called IOP, which stands for Intensive Outpatient. At IOP, they always say, never miss, always come in, doesn't matter how you feel, because it's a very dangerous world out there. It's dangerous to be out in society.
Yeah. So in your program, do you see a therapist?
Yep.
Where do you think it all comes from?
That I hate myself. And I can't stop hating myself for 2 minutes to give myself a break that allow me to start over. I can't change the past, okay? Believe me, I've tried. I've tried in my mind. And I'm so sick of being in the position of saying, God, if I could just go back a year, if I could just go back 6 months, if I could just go back 3 months. I can't do that anymore. I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
I haven't used heroin since January. So that's, getting in close to a year, a month and a half, that's the longest I've gone. I'm on Suboxone. It's working.
Are you worried now that you will use again and you won't stay where you're at right now? I mean, you always have to be worried to some degree.
Of course I'm worried. I know I'm an addict, and it's a very strong force, unfortunately, in my life, and that I'll be fighting for the rest of my life. I'll stick to the not using drugs and stick around on this planet for a little longer. 3, 2, 1, blast off! You know, I want to live. That's what I guess I'm trying to say.
That's a big thing to say.
If I can stop the drugs and, you know, stick around, maybe I'll live long enough for us to send a probe to Europa or Enceladus, and we'll, you know, drill through the ice and find life on those moons. Hello, my name is Matt, and I'm a recovering heroin and crack cocaine addict. A solution to the American opioid epidemic will ultimately be found on the demand side of the equation. This means repurposing the deca-billions of dollars spent seizing less than 10% of the drugs that flow into America into drug treatment and harm reduction programs.
So we're at the St. Met's Church in Baileyville. The church is quite old. It was built during the 1860s, and it was a Presbyterian church for many years, for about 100 years. A great bit of our family history is here, and that's why I love it so much. So our grandparents were married here. My brother and his wife were married here. I was married here. Both of my nephews were married here. So we just have such great history in this place.
The church came into our possession in 1964. The congregation had dwindled down to about 5 or 7 participants, and then eventually they decided to put it up for auction. So our grandparents bought it in 1964 for about $4,500. Lo and behold, my parents were going through a divorce in 1968, and my dad needed a place to live, and his parents agreed to let him buy the church.
And then the decision was made that we were going to move in with our dad into this place. My first memories are coming down here and going, what is my dad doing? Why are we taking this project on? I mean, I think it was a complete mistake. The place was in disrepair. These pictures really, to me, is what I remember when I first walked in when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in disrepair. Looks like the church pews have been removed. But you can see the ceiling.
Right.
You can't see the beams. This is before Dad tore the ceiling out. But it was very dusty and the carpet's ripped up. We would work on the weekends with our father pulling nails out of the floor. So it looked like a church, but you know, made for some good ghost stories. The actual bell from the original church we have, it's a solid brass bell, and it's absolutely gorgeous. If Dad said, like, you guys said you were gonna be up at 7:30 and we're gonna work, he'd ring the bell, man, we're going to work. This picture probably does it the best justice of what it was like in the late 60s to 70s. That means a lot to me, because that's what it looked like when we lived here. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. The rebuilding of this church was very cathartic. And I think with every nail that was pulled and new nails that were put in this building, the three of us really bonded together. That's why this place is so special to us. We literally rebuilt all of our lives right in this building.
When we moved back here in the 70s, we came in through the summer months. So, you know, the place would get stifling. It would. But the wintertime was much worse.
This main area was unheated in the Pennsylvania winters. So you would run from your bedroom to the kitchen and then back. I remember that about it.
This was called the no man's land in here in the wintertime, because you'd, like I said, you'd see your breath pretty well. Yikes. The wintertime was brutal.
My brother and I are a 1.5 year age difference.
Fred and I are very reliant upon each other, and we always have been.
He and I are bonded through this structure more than anything. It was the three of us really kind of depending on each other. Obviously, our dad was bringing the money in, but we were responsible to do the work. I ended up being the de facto chef, so we ate TV dinners every night. And then Leroy did the laundry. All colors were together, and in the dryer, we dressed ourselves out of the dryer.
In the wintertime, that's pretty nice, let me tell you. It's really not a bad thing, you know?
Our dad was a World War II veteran. He was in the Army Air Corps. So these guys came out of a war back to State College. These guys were like mid-20s, coming out of World War II. What did they have to lose? Their attitude was, I'm gonna take chances and I'm gonna be a little bit crazy. You know, what are you gonna do to me? I'm gonna have fun.
The way he kind of ruled, he could have run with the Rat Pack, my dad. He could have run with Sinatra and those guys. He would have fit right in.
He just lived larger than life. You know, they called him St. Metz of Baileyville. St. Metz of Baileyville was really our dad's nickname. He had sweatshirts made up. So I think it was more like if people were going to a bar, you have to have a logo, and that was really the logo, and that's what he was called.
I think that kind of became our family crest. It's tongue-in-cheek, of course.
Yes.
Yes. There was not a lot of sainthood going on here, I don't think. A, it was the 70s, which was a great decade, by the way. And B, we just had a real unorthodox parent.
He was this crazy fun guy that everybody knew, and they had parties out here.
It was like Cheers. You got all walks of life that would
Really
show
what it was
up.
like.
I know there was a party one time that I wasn't here, but I heard about a guy riding a motorcycle around the living room. So I've heard from a lot of people that have had fun out here.
Our dad had many legendary parties here, but one day he just decided it's time to grow up. I got to be a dad to these guys.
One of the first things he did was he put a swimming pool in where the parking lot sits today on the west side of the building.
He got the great idea. I wonder if we could put fish in the swimming pool. So we went to Spruce Creek Hatchery with a trash can. We put water and trout in there. So we brought the trout up. We put them in the pool. We had an aerator, and the fish lived. And then we're like, I wonder if we could go fishing.
We did the fishing in the swimming pool. That was fun. You know, you own a pond down below. Do you really need to fish in the swimming pool? No.
And we fished for probably 5 or 6 years. Every spring, neighborhood kids would look forward to it. We'd put a couple hundred fish in our swimming pool. We'd fish out of the pool.
I mean, I don't know if the Beverly Hillbillies got some of their ideas from us or whether we got them from them. I really don't know.
The sword is from, I believe that's from Dad's old barley, right?
Yeah, that's. My father did a number of businesses going. One of them was a bar in State College. He had the bar, the Sword and Shield restaurant down on Sauer Street, I think Sharky's.
Where Sharky's is now.
And usually the beer distributors would come in about August, and they would show up with all their promotional stuff. So when we went back to school in the fall, we didn't go shopping like other kids did for clothing. We wore whatever the distributors were handing off for bar garb.
I love my Schlitz malt liquor jacket. I think you did too. Probably can't wear that stuff now, but we were the head of the school. How about it, Mike?
I got stopped by a teacher saying, do your parents know what you're wearing to school? And it's like, this is what I got for back to school shopping, you know?
I mean, I'm 15, so at the time it was cool. We had a St. Bernard that we loved, dog named Brandy. We were very attached. Brandy died.
We were discussing getting another pet, and my dad said, you know, what do you think? And
I suggested a Labrador Retriever. That would be a reasonable, wonderful pet. My brother and Dad decided, well, let's do something exotic.
He knew a local wildlife specialist, and he contacted them, and they knew where we could get a mountain lion kitten.
I begged them, don't get a big cat.
They had a female that was pregnant, and about 3 months later, it had a litter of 4 males.
I came home one day from one of my classes, and they had a cougar kitten that was about 8 weeks old. It was about that big. And I'm like, what did you guys do? So We had a cougar.
This cat was good, though. This cat was good. We called him Metz.
He roamed the beams right behind me. We'd ring a bell, he'd jet down from the beams and eat his dinner or breakfast. This was the first home of the mountain lion. The kitten kind of lived in here. This room's had a lot going on. You had to climb up to go ring the bell, and you had a cougar living here.
I doubt the original congregation had that in mind, but that's the way it played out, you know?
Yeah.
I got some old 8mm film. Fred's in the cage, and it's wintertime, and he's playing with the cat, and the cat's grabbing him around the head and stuff.
He was actually very nice. We had him pretty well trained, but he's still a wild animal that could kill you, which didn't happen, luckily.
And eventually, he got to be about 140 pounds. We had a cage for him that we had in the back of our truck that was built in that we could take him into town and walk him around if we wanted to.
You know, my kids are like, can we get one? No, kids. You should never have an exotic pet. And then, of course, they go, but you guys had one. Mixed signals there from a parent, but you know, you don't want to do that.
But he survived. Everybody survived. The door is original. This is the original door. These are original doors. Other than that, in the beams, a lot of it has, you know, been modified. You know, 100 and some years take their toll.
About 15 years ago, my brother went and said, hey, we got to sell this place or fix it up. It's falling apart again.
He said, listen, you know, let's you know, keep it in the family and let's make it as, you know, as good as we can.
So he, with a couple other guys, rebuilt this place.
I'm a builder, designer without the degrees, without the letters.
And he built this place to last another 100 years. I mean, he really did an amazing job.
The beams above the ceiling line are all original. The only thing they were stained.
How old would they be, Lee, the originals?
I'm sure some of the timber that was growing would have probably been when the country was founded, you know, in the end of the 1700s. And, you know, they're still straight and true. They're all solid. I don't think he knew it was going to take years of off and on work. He just said, well, when you get it done, I guess you get it done. So, good partner to have.
I like to get things done, move on. He's much more deliberate and wants it done correctly. And that's why we work well together, because we always say, you know, he's the brake, I'm the gas, you know, and you need both of them.
You want to do some changes, but you don't want to strip out all the integrity that was in the place originally. You know, you don't just wreck it all and go in another direction.
Dad put his mark on this place, and then really you did too, which is really cool.
The problem is he wasn't very patient, so when he would paint a piece of lumber, he would not wait for it to dry. He'd have you put it up with fingerprints on it. So a lot of the old stuff in here, as I got to work on it, was cool because it'd come back across things with his fingerprints on it, and he left his marks all over the place.
My brother really did an amazing job, and I think that was very cathartic for him. He and my dad were very close. It's not just a building, it's a project that will probably never be completed.
Our dad developed lung cancer in 1995, and it took him quick, in 6 months.
Obviously, that was a big blow to us, but we're like, we have to do something kind of bold and crazy that he would like. My dad drank Seagrams, not even the good Seagrams. He drank the straight Seagrams. His big quote is, when I die, I want Seagrams. I want it written that Seagrams can now go back to a 5-day work week.
So what we decided to do was build a stone monument that mimicked the steeple in this building with a bell chamber.
He got cremated. Then we put the ashes in the Seagrams bottle and put it up in the bell, the one he used to ring, that would wake us up in the morning. So we put the Seagrams up in the bell, and now it sits down in the meadow in the monument that we have for him.
It's about an 18-foot granite steeple with a solid block base on it of 4 by 4 feet. And on his panel, it has all of his information, but it has a lot of his quips. His sayings that he used to give us. My name's on the other panel, and then Fred's name is on the other panel. And I guess for whom the bell tolls, that'll be us, and that's where we're going to be. And we divide the expenses 3 ways. Come on, that's not a bad deal for anybody. That's a bargain in anybody's book, right? So why not? Unless anybody goes on the back panel, nobody's discussed that yet.
No.
So, you know.
It is for rent, though, if anybody's interested. In our family, you always end up in the bell. My dad had a lot of fun and they had a lot of parties. But around when I was in 8th or 9th grade, he made the decision that those days were over for him and he was going to be a dad.
I think because we were so reliant on each other, it made it work so well. It's like three wolves being raised in here. We're the pups, he's the dominant alpha male, and that's what we did. And it was a great, great upbringing.
We were very independent, but we all depended on each other, and we knew we had each other's backs.
He was a very unorthodox man, no question about it. You know, you don't know it at the time, of course. You know, you just assume other people are stocking their swimming pool with fish too when you're 14, 15 years old. Not till you get down the road that you're going like, oh, that was unusual.
I have kids now, and although I wouldn't really want them to grow up as crazy as we did, I would want them to learn a lot of the stories that we learned in this building, like hard work, family, you depend on your family, you take care of your family. And if you can have that impact on your kids, everybody would take that. I know that for a fact.
I think the building and we are inseparable. I really do. I think we're pretty much ingrained into the dowels and the mortise and tenons of the building at this point. I think we're part of it. And what'll happen down the road, I have no idea here. I just hope someone cares about it.
This old building is not done. And I think there aren't many places like this anymore. And you know, that's our story to tell. I think there's a lot more stories in this building.